Hi guys, I'm Spider, welcome to Web Isle. Today we're going to be building a mountaintop hotel and we'll be working in the top left area of my map. Just to note, if you visit the dream address on screen, it will take you to an old island design. So we're going to start with a bit of terraforming. On the map itself, at this point, I did have quite an extensive farm in this area, which will come back, but it'll be a future video. So basically, I am quite fickle and I tend not to keep themes on my island particularly long. This is about the 7th re-envisioning of Web Isle. Initially it was a mishmash of lots of stuff. As everyone starts out exactly the same, we all just get a load of random bits and pieces that we like and we just put it on the island and like, yeah, that's fantastic. It was a little while after that I decided, it'd be a good idea to actually start having a theme. So this time round, my theme is inspired by the area in which I live. Okay, so I live in the UK in an area known as the Midlands. It's quite literally dead centre in the main body of the UK. While we don't actually have any mountains, there is a holiday resort that I enjoy going to with my family, which is called Center Parcs, and in particular, the one that we tend to frequent is in Sherwood Forest. Some of you may recognise the name from the stories of Robin Hood. It is just really lovely. There's a lot of luxury sort of cabins there, and one of the things I really enjoy is when we are on this break, it's just taking the time out to take a walk around the actual village itself. There's a big lake in the middle. There's a lot of the luxury cabins, like I've said, and something I do really enjoy is just looking at the floor plans of these cabins and being like, yeah, that's what I love. And I always find myself feeling particularly relaxed afterwards. So that is where my huge inspiration for this has come from. So back to what I'm doing on screen. Basically, to sort of give the illusion of being in a mountain, we are going to use the 4th level glitch, which will allow me to put up some additional trees at a higher level than we'd normally get to. So if you watch what's on the screen, you'll see that I've made a 3x3 square with a corner cut out. Some of you will be familiar with the glitch. There are people out there who can explain it a lot better than myself. But yeah, basically this glitch allows you to go up onto the 4th level, which you are not able to get to normally. Sometimes I can do it first time, and I was concerned that when they had done the 1.8 update it had been removed. As you can see, I've been having quite a bit of problems, but it did succeed. So I'd also learned at this point about the glitch that allows you to plant trees on the edge, which is actually what the 3x3 with the corner cut out was for. And I wanted to try and put as many trees as I could actually on the edge, but I didn't quite plan this out correctly, and as a result I did actually find myself struggling quite a bit. So once I realised what I'd done, I had to then try and get back up onto the 4th level, which took me close to an hour, so that's why there's a bit of missing footage there. So what I did as a result of that was I then went round and basically started to carve out the area that I wanted the 4th level to be. Something that I tend to do when I am working on my island is, if I have an idea, I will plot it on square paper. Now we know that each of the big squares on the map is 16 by 16 roughly. It doesn't always work out exactly because of the 3D nature of the map. There's always like an extra square sort of in the middle, but I can never quite place it when I'm planning. So I always just sort of take it with a pinch of salt and give a vague idea of what I'm doing. So like I say, I planned out sort of roughly what I wanted to do. I did have to keep going back and doing a bit of extra terraforming, because I realised after I'd done it, it's like there's no way that the house is going to sit there with all the extra bits that I want. So I had to run back down and do some extra terraforming down here on the cliff sides to get the actual landmass that I needed for the basis. So while that terraforming is going on, I'll go back to my earlier point. I was saying that this is heavily inspired by a holiday resort that we like to frequent, and that's no lie. However, that particular holiday resort is in a forest, in Sherwood Forest, But this, as we've established, is going to be a mountaintop hotel. The reason for my inspiration of it being a mountaintop hotel is due to the location in particular that where I live. We do have quite a few hilly regions, and there are quite a few old beacons that were used when invaders were coming. Now, this isn't going to be everyone's sort of cup of tea, but it's something that I've always really found interesting. It's much like the beacons in the Lord of the Ring films and books, but yeah, when you actually stand on one of these hills, you can see past the edges of the nearest city. So going back to my terraforming, I've now put out enough land mass, and I'm now trying to get back up onto the 4th level. I am intending to fill it with a lot of different trees and stuff. Again, I had to cut clips there because it was just not working for me. I had to keep going and trying different methods of getting up and down. Now, I have previously used the 4th level glitch, and I was sure I was able to lay down custom designs on the floor, but it wasn't allowing me to this time. I'm not sure if it was just a different way, or if it was just, I don't know if it's an update. So going back to what I was saying about the beacons, I wasn't able to incorporate the beacons the way I wanted to, but I thought it'd be a nice little nod to them if I put a lighthouse hidden sort of among the trees, because at night then the light would be shining out, and it would be like there was a beacon right behind the hotel, which is why I have then put the lighthouse where it is. So I'm trying to just fill up the area. I'm putting in a variety of different sort of flowers and hedges and trees and fences. I just want it to make it look pretty natural, pretty much a bit untouched, I suppose. I also tend to put a variety of different trees down whenever I'm planting trees and bushes and things. I don't really like having multiple of the same type of tree. However, I am very guilty of having far too many cedar trees. I think they are beautiful. I really, really do. So I've tried to keep a variety of different flowers here. As you can see, I've got sort of everything's in a purple, white or blue hue, or some mix thereof. Those are the theme colours of Web Isle. They always have been, they always will be. Purple's my personal favourite colour. So now that that 4th level has been decorated, I am going back now and removing the terraforming that I don't want and picking up the pieces. Okay, so we're back down on the ground, and once again we are in need of more terraforming. Again, short-sightedness. I planned the main bulk of the area, I just didn't actually consider how much cliff space beneath it I would need, so I kept having to go up and down and up and down. So as you can see, sort of in the corner, the top right corner, I did switch to my other player character. In this case it was Jessica, and I have moved her house and time travelled to the next day. This has allowed me to put the house in situ, so I can sort of get a really good idea. So we're just going to start placing down some of my personal preferred path, which is something that I have laboured over. It's inspired by cobblestones in particular. I find them really nice. You can sort of see that I'm still learning the right way of dealing with the path. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to completely understand it. It's always just trial and error. But the reason for cobblestones is the city that I grew up in does have cobblestones in the main area of the town. It's right where all the nightclubs were. They are a nightmare when you have gone out with your friends, when you're allowed to go out with your friends, obviously because of the current situation in the world. But they're a significant part of my heritage, the way I feel about it anyway. They're just very quintessentially British. I think like a lot of the areas that are quite historical around here, they have cobblestones. So I'm just going through and plotting a few holes of where I would like to plant some trees. Again, like I said, I really wanted to make it look really clustered and full, just to give that full illusion of being on a mountain. So again, something I needed to keep doing. You'll see that I do keep going back and forth throughout, is adding more cliffside. This was because I wanted to try and put some extra trees in and some water, in particular some waterfalls, because as cliche as they are at this point, I do really like them still, and I quite like the rounded cliff edges, so I wanted to not make it sort of blocky and square. I wanted it to have a sort of natural curve to it. Just gone back down to another part of my island to pick up a few extra trees that I've got in variety of sizes. I'm a huge fan of the stunted growth of trees. I think they look spectacular. So just as you can see, I was planting a variety of cedar trees and bamboo, and I'm trying to keep them stunted by planting fruit behind them. I do like the different heights that you get. I do think it makes it feel a lot more realistic, or as realistic as you can possibly get. So I did have to run to the other side of my island just to pick up a bit of bamboo from the tropical area. So here we go again with some more terraforming. I didn't have a plan at this point of how I wanted the terraforming to go. I just didn't want it to be really sort of symmetrical. I know that symmetry is a big thing for a lot of people, but I really don't. I think asymmetry works so much better for a natural look. It just means that you've got this sort of uneven natural curve to the land. So now we've got the trees down and we've got some bases for the path. I have started to put some of the different flowers down that I like. In particular, as I said earlier, I've got purple flowers, blue flowers, white flowers, and flowers that combine those colours. I'm just putting down some additional bits of path just to make it have that little bit of a curve. I can just sort of imagine it being that you have to walk through the forest. You actually have a sort of a dedicated path that would show you roughly where you'd need to go. By the way, the red squares at the back are an indicator / reminder for myself of where I think it would be best to have the stairs leading up to this particular area. Does change, as you can see. I've already started terraforming away this area. The house that is currently there with the red roof, that is Tyra's house, which is the farmhouse which will be moving. So I've taken out a large part of the land to the left here. I did plant a few bamboo pieces as I was hoping to get them to a certain level before moving them, but it was just becoming very difficult. So I had to sort of move them over and then terraform away the land that I didn't want anymore, just so I've got an idea of where I wanted like trees and plants and things to be, because I did want this to be separate from where the farm's going to be. So after I'd done all of that, I was pretty happy with my terraforming, and I started putting down some water. I am a very big fan of multiple smaller waterfalls into a single pond, and I love when there's a lot of shrubs around the water. It just feels very natural and relaxing to me. So I've started using the Mario pipes to move around, because it's so much easier to just jump in a pipe and go to my house, because my house is literally the other end of the island to where I'm working. So again, once the pipe's moved out the way, I am terraforming again. This is after I've moved the house over to where it's going to be for the farm. It just gives me, again, more ground to work with and a sort of final idea of the layout that I'm working with. So behind the sort of landmass where the hotel is, I am planting a few more trees because I want to give it that sort of layered look. So again, you know, more trees the better really. So at this point I realised that I hadn't really put much thought into the left side, and I was considering sort of what could I do to make it a bit more interesting there. I do keep running off to the left to get an idea, because that is where the farm's going to be, which should be my next episode. I did want to sort of give this a bit more of a... The house itself, I wanted to have a symmetrical look to it. So I've got these two fake statues that I've had in my inventory for a while, and I thought that they suited the area particularly well. So we're just continuing the cobbled path down to the left. I'm not sure at this point what I was thinking of putting at the end. I did consider maybe like a little seat or something, just to give it, I don't know, a reason to go to the left, but I end up putting a little pond stone there. I just thought that it would work really well. So I'm just filling up some of the empty space with a lot of my sort of clovery and confetti style leaves and things to give it, again, that sort of overgrown natural sort of feel to it. Okay, so this is one of my favourite items in the game. It is the decoy duck. I absolutely love this. Where I live, at the back of my house, there's a nature trail, and there's a lot of ducks that live there, particularly in summer, and I absolutely love it when they waddle into the garden. I think it's brilliant. My little boy, he is a huge fan of the ducks as well, and yeah, so the more ducks I can have on my island, the better. It is getting a little difficult to walk in that particular area, but I do think it's looking pretty good. I'm just putting down a few bug statues, like butterfly statues, frog statues, all sort of things that you'd expect to find around water in nature. I'm using the potted cypress plant to give it more depth to the trees. Again, just to really bulk out the area and make it look quite natural. Just adding a few more trees to this area now. As I said before, it gives it that sort of overgrown look. Just picking up a few bits and pieces. There's one of my favourite villagers there, Zal. He has been on my island pretty much since the earliest I could get him. He's one of the few amiibos I do have. So we're just popping in to see Mr. Nook to get the staircase. I did this at this point rather than waiting. I do pay it off in time travel to the next day, just so that I can get a much clearer idea and vision of how it's looking. If I wasn't happy with it, I would have deleted the staircase. I couldn't make my mind up between the log staircase and the stone staircase. In the end, I go for the stone staircase, and it does pay off in my opinion. As you can see, I have a problem taking out money. I struggle with the numbers. I'm not actually using the touchscreen. Surely I'm not the only one. Does everyone else have a problem with the numbers when they're not using the touchscreen? So here I am just figuring out the placement of the stone staircase and imagining it. I quite like it being slightly hidden away, so it gives more of a secret entrance kind of feel to it. It's not particularly hidden, I just feel like it works really well. So again, I'm just dropping a few bells over at the other house because I'm working out sort of features and costs for them. I do have 8 player characters on my island. One of the previous Animal Crossing games that I really enjoyed is the Happy Home Designer, and I love that they had a lot of extra buildings that, like the hospital and the school. I really liked that, so I wanted to incorporate that into my island previously. So I added several other characters. In particular, there's my husband and my son, and then we've also got cats and leopard geckos as playable characters. They will be in future episodes. So now that the staircase is placed, it does give me a much clearer view of like what sort of region I'm working with, and like, okay, this has got this much space, I can put this here. I I do put down a few more bug models, and as much as I do like the bug models, I may go back and replace them with some of the newer items that are due to come out. I would just rather have it a lot more greenery, a lot more flower orientated than bugs. I'm not really sure why. I think it might be because I'm tainted against Flick, because he never visits. It's just a nightmare trying to find him to visit. So again, just putting down a few extra pieces like a leaf umbrella, because it adds to the depth of the area, and some more confetti on the floor just to fill up a few spaces, a few mum cushions. Those things are fantastic. I absolutely love those. I think they're an absolutely brilliant item. Just picking up a few extra bits and pieces. I tend to lay everything out that I'm possibly going to use on the ground near where I'm working, and I tend to work off of that. So I'm just putting some more stone fencing at the back to really tie in that upper area. Bit of firewood next to the actual hotel itself. A few more bits and pieces like the Turkey Day wheat, which is a fantastic item that I severely underestimated initially. Just a few more bits of pieces on the ground, some more potted plants. Absolute top notch. Every single potted plant in this game, and I absolutely love. So we're just going to put down one more bug model, in particular a butterfly model, and I think that's us done. Looking at it now, and yeah, I can say I am really happy with this. Just a couple of small tweaks here and there that I would like to make just to really solidify my ideas, but yeah, I'm really happy. Really happy with this. I love the little lighthouse peeking out. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye!